Ho, ho, ho. Welcome to a holiday edition of Wings, Beers, and Tears, your favorite DMV podcast. This is episode 31. Happy holidays out there, DMV sports fans. The usual suspects are here this evening. I am Todd, joined as always by Jeremy.
Yo.
Boy, he sounds festive, doesn't he? And Mr. Jerry, how are you, sir?
Hello, everybody who listened to the podcast from the boat.
Yes.
Said that Jeremy had never talked more.
Yes.
And now he's back to his,
He was very spry on our trip. So if you joined us last time on episode 30, we were in the Bahamas, but we still brought you some outstanding DMV sports talk. Outstanding being an interesting word to describe that.
Sorry
that
for
discussion.
flushing the toilet during the podcast.
I don't remember that at all. So
God damn it, we had so much fun.
What?
So on the upside, all of us made it back here up to Maryland in one piece. And we were all accounted for, and we had an absolute awesome weekend. For those that have not done it, getting down to Florida, taking a boat out to the Bahamas for the weekend, I highly recommend it. It is quite cathartic.
It's a ship, fuckers.
Yep.
It's a boat.
So, Merry Christmas to everybody out there. As we record this, we are exactly 1 week from Old St. Nick Day, and we have a ton to talk about tonight. We've had a little bit of a hiatus from our vacation, and let's get right into it. So today, let's start local. Today was National Signing Day, the initial National Signing Day for college football, and your University of Maryland Terrapins did not have much to write home about this season. However, today, Loxley does what he does, and that motherfucker can recruit.
He can do that.
Yes, he can. So going into the day, I wasn't super excited like I've been on previous signing days because it felt like the class was fairly straightforward. Yeah. Lots and lots of high-end 3-star guys, a ton of O-linemen, a ton of D-linemen, both which, we need like 4 years worth of just a shit ton of guys in the trenches in order to become competitive in the Big Ten. The star of the class going into the day was Ruben Hippolyte, the 4-star linebacker, and he, sure enough, put his name to pen and paper, and he is a Terp. And then about mid-morning, I almost fell out of my chair as
that's what that noise was.
as a local boy from St. John's who had committed to LSU. Most of the outlets that I had seen did not really have Maryland.
Correct.
Even in his top 5, had he flipped. So I don't really know exactly what happened.
He got paid.
Yeah, exactly. Jerry's theory is probably more correct than not here. I was very skeptical when he signed. I was like, "What the fuck did we just do?"
Disclaimer: that's more of a joke than true slander, folks.
That is more of a joke than
it is more of a joke. But no. So Jarrett is officially a Maryland Terp, and as far as context goes. Well, let me just start by saying this. Getting recruits in is step 1. Loxley knows how to do that. Then developing the talent ultimately decides what you are going to be as a coach and how your program is going to succeed. That is yet to be determined. This year was not very impressive with his and his coaching staff's inability to get a lot out of their talent. Now, well, they've got a bunch of their own guys in, and you know what? This day and age in college football, freshmen can make a difference right away. So he's got some big O linemen, got some big D linemen, got a ton of athletes, and this guy tops the chart. For context, he is the highest rated recruit Maryland has had since Stephon Diggs, and Diggs worked out pretty fucking well.
How was he?
Yeah. So again, how he develops will ultimately determine, quite a bit, but pretty exciting to have a guy flip from LSU who's in the college football top 4 to our Maryland Terps. So that was, that was a little early Christmas present for us Terps fans. So if you're listening out there, I'm sure you did not follow National Signing Day. So this is your primer.
Thanks, Pat, for paying for him.
That's okay. Olivia did. She'll tell him what happened.
No, I'm sure Olivia told him everything that went down. She probably has every stat on every guy.
We should have her on here.
Yeah, no kidding. No, so seriously, cheers to the Terps. I'm really glad that they had a good National Signing Day, and now the hard work starts if you're Loxley and company.
Well, they signed, I think, it looks like 28 people.
That's correct. It was a massive class.
Yeah, he's obviously top of the line. I saw him play at the Good Counsel game, and he is legit. He's a freak show.
He's absurd. I watched his highlight reel, and I was like, it was a little like breezy when you watch his highlight reel. You're like, wow, there's one guy who's different than everybody else.
Yeah. it was obviously a weird flip when you told me today. I didn't necessarily believe you, but that according to Scout or Rivals, no, it's Rivals. Maryland has the 26th ranked class in the nation.
It's pretty damn good.
Sixth in the Big Ten, is that right?
I don't know. I'm just looking at the national one. Clemson unloaded on. I mean, they have probably the top recruit in almost every.
It's unreal.
In every position.
It's incredible.
I don't, the whatever Dabo's doing down there, that family type atmosphere is amazing.
Well, I think even Dabo and crew, they were a little late to the party with Breezy, and he immediately went there. I mean, they've just,
Well, to hear Brian tell it, and I offhand, right? I've never talked to him about it, but to hear when you go to Alabama, it is like all business. Nobody smiles. Everybody's just sort of.
That seems to be the MO.
It's a factory. When you go to Clemson, everybody's laughing, hugging, smiling. It's more of a family type atmosphere, and it's not as ironclad. Saban's just driving you, and you work 75 hours a day.
Yeah.
And I guess the new recruits probably seem to like that. And plus, when you win and you start getting that flow, I mean, it's down south.
Yep.
There's a lot to offer.
Well, I think both campuses offer quite a bit of a recruiting pitch without having to do much, right? They're both down south, decent weather at both, pretty much year-round. I think Clemson, though, has that feel of that, it is truly a college town. When you get outside of Columbia, South Carolina,
because there's nothing else there.
There's absolutely nothing, So they really give you that college town feel. But like we have actually discussed the stark contrast between Saban and Dabo before. And there have been firsthand accounts, many probably like Brian, that say when you walk into Saban, it's very stern, it's very businesslike, like you said. But he has almost like this "fuck you" attitude, like you should be lucky I'm talking to you. Dabo's got that good old boy mentality. He puts his arm around
I feel about myself, so I get it.
I mean, 6 5-star recruits.
It's six.
Out of 33 in the country?
Yeah, I was going to say there's only 30-some in the country, and they get 6 of them? Fuck.
13 4-star recruits.
Jesus
They have
Christ.
3 4-star or 4 3-star recruits. So it's basically like if you're an average Division I prospect.
So for context, right? So Maryland is the 26th recruiting class in the country, which isn't bad for Loxley's first year.
One of each, 5 and 4. And 5 is amazing.
And getting a 5-star and getting a 4-star is pretty awesome for a team like Maryland that, by all accounts, I mean, they're right in the mix in the middle of college football, right? They're competitive. They're a big-time school, et cetera. And here they have one of each. And fucking Clemson, 6 5-stars and 14 4-stars. I mean, it's not even
almost
fair.
22 just with 4s and 5s for Christ's sake.
Here's the top 5. I mean, see if you've heard of these programs before. Clemson 1, Alabama 2, Ohio State 3, LSU 4, Georgia 5. Shocking.
It'll be great when one of those teams has some success. Huh?
Tell me about parity again and how that's working out.
No shit. All right, well, so let's take because aside from the guys signing with Maryland and the excitement of having Jarrett flip at the last minute, again, there's really not much to talk about with the recruits because they need to get to school, they need to get to spring ball, and they need to figure out which of these freshmen is going to make the two-deep roster and perhaps make a difference.
And that's one of these big things about this new early signing day. I think it's only the third year they've had it.
That's correct.
Most of these guys are going to be early enrollees, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely.
So they'll be here on campus soon.
That's why you do it.
That's exactly right. Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit more to the national scale here because around the holidays, I absolutely love the bowl schedule.
Here we go.
It's fucking great. However, the names of the bowls continue to just be a goddamn disgrace.
Is there still a pool and Weed Eater Independence Bowl?
Oh, it gets way worse.
Teddy Bowl?
But let's start at the top. So next Saturday, the 28th, is the Final Four matchup in college football. I absolutely love that it's on a Saturday night around the holidays. It's not on the first. It's not on a work night or school night or anything else. I think the ratings are going to be fucking awesome.
Amazing, like they were last year.
Absolutely. And the matchups this year are great. You do have the mainstays in there, obviously. All right. So the very first game, 4 o'clock from Atlanta, from Mercedes-Benz Stadium, you have number 1 LSU and number 4 Oklahoma. So, Jerry, give us a little primer here on this one, if you will.
Joe Burrow.
Who's that guy?
Yeah.
I heard he's pretty good. He has some hardware, I believe.
Here's how
he couldn't beat out Haskins at Ohio State. How good can he be?
Here's how I look at that game. LSU has played 2 or 3 tougher teams than Oklahoma and won.
Yes.
Oklahoma's played not anyone nearly as close as good as LSU, and they haven't obviously beaten anybody that good. So this should be business as usual for LSU. However, Oklahoma's got a good offense. Hurts is a good quarterback.
Yes, he is.
Lincoln Riley's a good coach.
Who's their receivers? That CeeDee Lamb?
CeeDee Lamb. Right?
Oh, yeah.
But in terms of just being tough, physical, you just have to think that Oklahoma has to score pretty much. They can't have any turnovers.
Exactly.
And they have to score, every other time they get the ball, because I don't think Oklahoma's defense is going to withstand the power.
Yep. No, you've said that from day one, that they can score with just about everybody, but it has to be exactly right.
Right.
And
if it hurts, at least in the Baylor game and in the big games, he will cough it up a little bit. He can become turnover happy. I think they'll keep it close first quarter, and then a turnover will happen. LSU will seize momentum, and then they'll just they'll wash it away. I expect a double-digit victory for LSU.
And you have to expect Oklahoma to need to put up 50 to win that game, right?
Maybe not 50, but at least 30.
Well, I'm kind of with you, Jeremy, because I had this
think
thought.
LSU's put up 42 or 45.
So here's the
That's
deal.
what I'm
I had
saying.
this thought that Oklahoma could score 35 and lose this game by 3 scores.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very possible.
I think if Oklahoma scores in the 30s, they have a shot, but they're going to need some turnovers.
Yes.
They're going to need some short fields. And you know what? I mean, LSU, it's one of those games where part of me is thinking LSU is such a big favorite. They're coming in. They're going to be overconfident. They're going to be – I think Lincoln Riley's a better coach.
Okay, you nailed it. For me, the only chance they have is the fact that they've had a few weeks to prepare. LSU has had a few weeks off. Burrow won the Heisman. You're always a little rusty. These games are odd, right? I think Riley can coach Orgeron right under the table. I think he's the X factor.
Yeah, I think he can too. I mean, I don't mean, obviously Ed's done a great job this year, and I love hearing him talk. And
I wouldn't say that to his face, because that is one big mean motherfucker.
Yeah, and I'm a fan of his. I just think that they haven't. It's not the right word, because the SEC has the best athletes, and Alabama's offense is amazing, and Georgia's offense is good, and a lot of those teams in the SEC have really top flight 5-star athletes.
Yep.
But if Oklahoma comes up and gets up early and can withstand if they catch LSU napping at the beginning, it's going through the motions, get up on them early and then sustain it until the fourth and maybe get a turnover, that's how I think they win.
Yep.
I think both teams have to be in the 30s. If Oklahoma starts off down, LSU gets up early, and things start to roll, I think Oklahoma will cave.
Yeah.
So
no, I think you're right. I think it's one of those games where really their only path to success, Oklahoma, is almost initially is to go against their own DNA and to find a way to lock down defensively, be conservative on offense,
but
don't turn it over.
That's
but
not
you can't
them.
do it. Exactly right.
Them.
Exactly right.
Yeah, you
so
just can't.
but it's football, right? And if LSU goes out there and a couple guys have butterfingers early and there's a weird bounce here or a punt return there or a block kick, you never know. But the longer this game stays close, obviously that favors Oklahoma. It's just I don't see how it happens.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeremy, but last year Oklahoma with Kyler Murray played Alabama, and Alabama came up early and they were stomping them in the mouth right at the beginning.
Yep.
And then once Oklahoma settled down, they started playing with them, but by that time they're catching up by 2 or 3 touchdowns, right? There was too little too late.
They were down 28 or whatever it was, and
Right. So they couldn't catch up.
Yeah, they were
So
getting boat race, but they did make it respectable.
Right. I assume the same is true now. If they can get up and get some confidence and catch LSU napping, because I don't think LSU is as coached as well. Maybe they are, but he doesn't have the track record. He had the pedigree as a Saban. So I'm not giving Ed the benefit of the doubt. I don't think he's going to have him prepared like Saban would. With that said, I think after the first quarter, things will start to settle down. The cream will rise to the top, and LSU will win by double digits.
Yeah.
Well, Jerry, you already alluded to it, but basically, I wouldn't even go further, pile on what you said. Oklahoma's attitude should be, I'm going to score every possession. That's our only chance. That should be their attitude.
Like doing John Harbaugh's and going for it for fourth down the middle of the field.
But just like we need to score every possession. That's we don't have a choice.
And
as
talented as Oklahoma is, LSU just has
LSU is amazing.
They're incredible. So as great as Lincoln Riley is, even if he cooks up some sort of concoction and goes to his bag of tricks, at talent-wise, LSU just might be that much better.
I got you. I'm with you. I agree with you.
So we'll see. But so that's the first game. So that's 4:00 on Saturday the 28th. And then the second game, you got Ohio State and Clemson. I'm excited for this game.
That is the best game I've been most excited about in, I think, about 3 years.
Dude.
I'm happy Alabama's not there. I love Nick Saban.
I agree.
I'm a Nick Saban guy. He's from West Virginia. We're cousins. But,
not saying much.
I am happy to not see Alabama, and somewhat a little bit different of same ilk, right? What's the difference really between LSU and Alabama? Just the name. But this matchup is pretty cool because you have Ohio State, who I think is the best team, and I think they're going to win it all.
I do too.
Right?
But they got to get past Clemson, though.
They have to get past Clemson, and Clemson, people have been sleeping on them. Now their schedule was terrible. I mean, they played nobody all year long.
This is where we will see if the down ACC hurts them,
right,
or if they're, again, talent-wise, they're just at the top of the heap.
They put up 60-something on Virginia in their championship game, right? So either they're really good, or the ACC is just the worst conference in the Power 5, which I think is the case. But
or Pac-10.
Yeah, I think Ohio State's going to win it all. But I'm really worried about this game because Clemson can put it on you.
They can.
And they can, are they overrated or are they just the best team that didn't play anybody? Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, this is where, we talked about you have, with Oklahoma, can you slow it down a little bit, take the air out of the ball? They can't. But Ohio State might be able to do that to Clemson. With a guy like Dobbins, it's like I think that's
Ohio
where
State's
you might
offense.
See.
I love this cat and mouse game in this one because the Oklahoma LSU game, we just described it, I think, to a T. Pretty much every national prognosticator out there will say very similar things to what we're saying. I mean, these two teams are on either end. They have an identity. They do what they do. Here you go. Ohio State and Clemson can beat one another in so many different ways. And you said it a few weeks ago. Ohio State's D-line is so nasty.
Chase Young, man.
Dude, they can get home with 4 guys against a guy like Trevor Lawrence.
One.
Yeah, they don't have to blitz.
No.
That's
and that's what makes them really, really scary. Now, at the same time, we just said it about LSU. Clemson's depth of athlete is just absurd. I mean, so much team speed, so much dynamic playmaking ability all over the field on both sides of the ball.
Part of me thinks that Clemson benefited from a weak schedule, but part of me also thinks that Clemson sleptwalked through the whole year because of the schedule.
And that's kind of where I'm at.
So they did not have to try very hard. Now they might be motivated. Mm-hmm. You might come out and it wouldn't. I think Ohio State's the best team in the field. I think they're the most complete team in the field. Maybe not. I think LSU's the most complete team, but Ohio State has the best athletes that matter. Mm-hmm. That is running back, quarterback, and pass rush.
Pass rush is the key.
Pass rush is the key. Because if you can get off on third down, you can suck on first and second down. But if you can get to the pass rush and get that quarterback off his game, it doesn't really matter what your running back's doing. So, but I also think Clemson might be the most dangerous team because nobody knows if they're really not that impressive or they were just sleepwalking.
And they've been there. They have the pedigree, and they've been there with guys on this roster.
Absolutely.
And Lawrence is tested and knows what the hell he's doing this time of the year.
I really do believe that the winner of that game wins the national championship.
I agree with you.
I think I agree with that as well. I think that the big key also for Ohio State, we already talked about it, but get after Lawrence, and the athletes don't matter as much on the offensive side of the ball for them.
If you can't throw the ball, if you don't have time to throw the ball, it doesn't matter how good the wide receivers are getting that.
And we've already talked about how weak their schedule was. The biggest thing is he had not seen a pass rush like that. He has not seen one guy, let alone 4 guys, bring it.
Except last year.
It's
true. Not like this guy's going to be.
That's true.
The moment will not be too big for Clemson. I can promise you that.
No, Dabo gets his guys prepared. They play loose. They take on his personality, and I think that's an advantage this time of the year.
And coaching-wise, Clemson may have the upper hand just because Dabo has good assistants. Venables has been, and they've all been there. Nothing's going to be Ohio State. This is his first rendezvous in the big stage.
It is.
Who knows?
So, speaking of which, I'm glad Ohio State's there because it's not with Urban Meyer on the sidelines. So it's a different looking Ohio State. I think Fields is an interesting player. The stage might be too big for him. We will see.
I don't know, man.
Talent wise,
a lot of people think he's better than Fromm.
I know. I've heard that as well.
Absolutely.
But
that's the majority easy.
But we'll see. I mean, you don't know what you're made of until you're tested, and here he has his opportunity. So, we'll kind of see.
And for the record, nobody at Maryland got paid.
That was all alleged.
But it was all a joke. But if they did, thank you.
Yes, thank you, is correct. So speaking of Urban Meyer, let's go ahead and get into some NFL talk.
To the Redskins.
Somehow, some way, the fucking Redskins make their way into the vernacular of local sports every single week. So last week, Skins hosted the Eagles, and who's up in the Snyder box but one Urban Meyer. What do we make of it? I know everybody's talked about it.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
He will not be the coach here, in my opinion. If he comes in, it'll be in the front office with Alex Smith as a protege, and they will, between them, choose the new coach, whoever it might be.
So are they going
from Stanford or
so what would you call Meyer? Is he going to be the de facto GM? Is he going to be player personnel director of football operations, all of the above?
It'll be the go fuck yourself Bruce Allen role, whatever that is. Whatever gets him the hell away from this team, that's the role.
I agree. I thought it was laughable that people thought that Urban Meyer was coming here to coach and Alex Smith was going to be the GM. That's what everybody was saying after. I was like, what are you talking about?
With Meyer's health issues, he really just can't, right?
No, and why would he come here if he's going to have other options? That's so stupid.
I don't disagree.
He's unlikable, so he fits that trait with the Redskins. But
that's very true.
But the only thing exciting about Urban Meyer, and it's the most important thing, he has the chutzpah. Is that how you say it? Chutzpah. Whatever. He has the balls to tell Dan Snyder, go back in your fucking office and let me do my job. He has the ability, the ego.
He certainly has the ego. He certainly has the pedigree to do so. Will he, though? I mean, Dan ultimately signs his check. I mean,
I think he will, because that guy is. I think he's proven winning comes first for him above all else. Morals aside,
you're right. The guy's morals are very compromised. So, and, he's definitely a fuck you coach.
Here's the thing. I personally do not believe that his sitting in the box was coincidence. I do not believe that he was simply Terry McLaurin's guest and he was here for other reasons. He just happened to have time available. I don't believe that at all.
Okay.
I don't believe that Dwayne Haskins didn't know he was there. That doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
None of that stuff does. And I don't believe there wasn't a purpose for him to be seen in the owner's box.
Right.
So the Redskins, I do believe, are courting him in some form or fashion, and I'm with Jeremy. I believe it's a front office role. I don't think so too. I don't think he wants to go back to coach.
Well, and said this via text. I don't give a shit who it is as long as it's not Bruce Allen. Mm-hmm. And if you have somebody with the namesake of Urban Meyer, hey, you know what? There's a little bit of reason for optimism, right?
Here's why Urban Meyer is a good choice, right? First of all, he's got the balls to say fuck you to Dan Snyder and the ego to stand up to him and fire me if you don't want me, right? Which is admirable, and that's what we need.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing is he's been coaching Power 5 football at a high level for a long time.
Oh, like he knows part of 20 years, right?
He knows if these guys can play.
Right.
He knows if they're in the league now, if they could play, because he probably recruited them or played against them, or got to know them, right? Whereas Bruce Allen doesn't. Mm-hmm. And he knows I think he can evaluate talent.
Just record that Bruce Allen doesn't. Right. It's like a little.
I mean, I think it's clear
on a loop.
I think it's clear right now with the way things are trending that Bruce Allen is not going to come back in the player personnel role.
I sure as shit hope not.
I mean, no, it's well deserved. It's overdue.
So I heard today is the 10-year anniversary of his hiring,
and he has 100 losses. Congratulations!
Wow, that's impressive. Who said he didn't accomplish anything? Right. Good for you, Bruce. You underachieving sack of shit.
He alleviated the traffic problems, the parking issues, because nobody wants to go to the fucking game anymore.
That's right.
Perfect.
The stadium experience is now so easy. Thanks, Bruce.
You get Urban Meyer to run your. I don't know about the Alex Smith thing. You're probably right. I mean, whatever.
Less likely, but right. It was just.
Or he could just be some hanger on getting $30 million next year for just being injured because he ain't playing.
I'll be honest. That's probably what I would do.
Right. but if he's not going to play, then he's going to hang out and help.
Yes.
I mean, Alex Smith seems to be very knowledgeable and a good guy, and so that's
and
not
the word is apparently
Dwayne
Haskins
says,
really looks up to him.
Right.
Like
But you can guarantee the Redskins need to lose to the Giants this week. It's a big deal. Can't beat the Giants. Can't.
Huge.
They gotta finish 2. Then Chase Young's coming here.
That'd
Because
be
if
such a
Urban
big
Meyer's
deal.
picking
Going
Chase
on.
Young, it's a done deal.
God, that would be amazing if
Because
he
the
came here.
Bengals have to take a quarterback. They have to take Burrow. He's an Ohio kid.
What if
Went to Ohio
the
State.
Bengals though? What if the Bengals took damaged goods and took Tua and Burrow sitting there?
Well, then you can trade for a ransom.
Well, here's the thing: if the Redskins pick 3rd, that sucks because they don't get Chase Young. But you're sitting there in 3rd with a quarterback from Oregon, who people will want. Maybe they'll trade up and you can still get a boatload. And then
I'm with you. If they drop below 2, so if they're 3, 4, or 5 somehow, I think that's a very tradable position based on what other teams need.
Right.
And there's going to be some high end talent.
like San
up there.
Diego probably needs to trade up and get a quarterback.
Rivers doesn't have another 10 years in him.
I don't think Rivers has a 10 years.
10 more kids,
And-
like 10 more years.
But I think if the Redskins play it right, they're going to have cap room. First of all, every vet that's a free agent, I would let go.
Yeah.
I would let Brandon Sheriff go. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Because Eric Flowers has proven you can be a good guard.
Dude, Flowers has been pretty good, right?
You can be a
Solid.
good guard.
Oh, speaking of which, holy shit.
Wes Martin played.
Wes Martin sighting.
Yes.
Oh, it
His
was awesome.
pass blocking was atrocious.
Who cares?
But he
He's
wasn't.
fucking Wes
How
Martin.
many
couldn't
sacks
be
did he give
moved.
up? How many sacks did he give up?
But you know what?
He says, fuck your pass blocking. I'm Wes Martin.
When he was playing, I couldn't tell the difference between him and Sheriff.
No.
Like I didn't know until someone told me that Wes
Dude,
Martin was
I
in.
completely agree with you.
You know?
Completely agree. So
That's why Jay Gruden said, "What did McLuhan do? Got me a guard.
got me a guard.
Got me a guard, and because
Right.
he's a fucking guard.
5, great, thanks.
You know." So I'm of the opinion in the first round, in the top part of the first round, you should draft only high impact quarterbacks, quarterbacks, and defensive linemen that can rush the passer.
Well,
that's it. And
you've said it before, and I completely agree with you. If you're a top 10, even top 15 draft pick, whoever you draft needs to play. They need to be number 1.
they need to be good.
They need to be good, and they need to be number 1 on your depth chart at their position when the season starts. And I know that that's a tall tale for rookies, but there's so much talent coming out of college. There are so many overruns in the NFL that are 5, 6, 7 years in that are just very meh players. You have to get an impactful guy if you're a top 10 to 15 pick.
Jonathan Allen.
Yeah,
That guy's been a disappointment.
he has health issues again. Dude, what is it in the water?
You draft a player that's injury prone and he becomes injured still.
Motherfucker. Yeah. That's why somehow I think we're going to end up with Tua. I don't know how. I just don't know.
No, speaking of that, how do you think Dwayne played? I thought he played well.
Fucking great. This was the game I was waiting for. This is the game I was waiting to see him.
I think they let the reins off a little bit and allowed him to make some mistakes, but also make big plays.
I agree. But his mistakes weren't really drastic. No picks. Technically, no sacks. The one time he did get sacked,
that last one's a bullshit.
It was whatchamacallit, defensive holding.
Right.
The Skins have trouble holding on to the football from time to time, but again, they're just really not that good.
The game was perfect because he played well. A lot of the rookies played well.
Bingo.
And they lost.
And exactly.
Exactly. No, you said
There's
it. You're
no-
like, this
what-
is the perfect confluence of events
Didn't
right here.
Tom Boswell say it the best? There's nothing more tragic than wasting an awful season.
Yeah.
There is nothing to be gained by winning.
Completely agree.
You win by letting the young kids play well,
Yep.
and lose.
And then you draft Demarcus Russell.
And then you draft DeMarcus Russell.
Well, let's hope. Let's hope
the
that they
Skins
land.
drafts have not been terrible. I don't think that has to do as much with Bruce Allen as it does with Mike Smith's kid who runs the college draft thing.
yeah.
He's a stud. And I think they're well prepared. They're well scouted. By the time Bruce Allen gets in it, making a pick, they've already decided what to do. It's
Yeah.
not like he's scouting people.
Well, and on the heels of what we just discussed with the college recruiting, it's obviously different in the NFL. These guys are pros now, but you have to cultivate the talent. Just because you get
Yes.
a grade A guy coming in at 4th or 5th overall and he's got all these sacks or he's got all these receptions under his belt, he has to integrate into your system and he has to be an impactful player.
But I'm with Jeremy. I think when's the last game? Next week? Next weekend? On Sunday night, Bruce Allen is relieved of all football operation duties. Urban Meyer is announced as the front office guy and the richest front office guy in the league because you got to overpay him to get him. And then at that point, you're well positioned. There's a little bit of buzz going forward into the offseason, and you're well positioned, better positioned anyway, to get a coach that has a little bit of reputation, because he's like, all right, well, I don't know, maybe I assume Urban Meyer has a good reputation amongst coaches, if not the public.
I would think so.
Right?
I would think so.
And they know that at least someone of competence and someone with some balls is going to, I can work with him and we can build together.
So it's the holiday season. We all like to make Christmas wishes and all that kind of shit. So before we go and we laud the Ravens for being just fucking amazing.
Damn, they're so fucking good.
Let's say Bruce Allen is gone last day of the season. See ya. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Let's say that Urban Meyer is introduced as the football operations
president
guy.
of player personnel.
Correct. Essentially, he's pulling the strings, and he is going to be the head man on the committee to get the next head coach and the next coaching staff. Who would be your head coach number one in the clubhouse?
I mean, my number one is not going to be available, Mike Tomlin. That's who I would.
Yeah.
I think he is exactly who they need.
All right, so shooting for the stars, Mike Tomlin. The reality is he's not going to be
I don't know who's available. I don't know if you – I would rather go with someone a little bit younger, dynamic, even from college, who – I'm not saying like a Kingsbury who didn't deserve the job. I'm saying someone who's a little dynamic. I can't think of somebody off the top of my head.
Well, Lincoln Riley. That guy's name has been floated around.
Or maybe like a young coordinator, and then you pick the defensive coordinator, and that guy's got some wizardry.
Wait. Isn't Minuski the D coordinator?
Yeah.
Is he going to survive? Jeremy's face right now for all listening. The man has no emotion, but he just looks so fucking disgusted when I said Minuski's name.
Have you seen the worst third down fucking defense I've ever
goddamn
seen?
Atrocious.
What the fuck are they doing?
So it's week 14 or 15, and the corners are running into each other in zone. There was a zone.
Why the fuck is Josh Norman even active?
I have no idea.
They want to. It's like someone said on the radio they want to pay him his $31,000 salary. Who gives a fuck about Josh Norman's ego? Who gives a shit about what does he know? Like no shit that he's going to talk about?
No, he's so irrelevant at this point.
Jesus Christ,
Jeremy, who would be your pick for a coach?
I'll go with you. I'll go with Lincoln Riley, and then some Greg Williams type defensive coordinator who you can just say, son, stay on your side. Yeah. I got this. And I'm going to put in aggressive, top 15, top 10 defense.
Is Rex Ryan available?
I think he probably is, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the name I threw out earlier, which I'm medium on, I don't love, is Shaw out of Stanford. He's a name I've heard a little bit.
Yeah, his name's been.
There's another college guy whose name's escaping me, but if it's an NFL guy, I like the idea of bringing in Rivera. And then you can have, O'Connell as your OC if they want to go that way. And I think they do. But I really don't have any grand plans beyond that.
It's going to be somebody that Urban Meyer knows, has connections with, and he's worked with before.
DJ Durkin.
Now, my pick would be I would go very bland and boring. And if Meyer were to be picked, I would court somebody like Rivera. Somebody that has staying power in the NFL. He's a no-nonsense guy. I think that it's funny. Young guys really like him. I mean, Newton loved him.
Yeah.
McCaffrey loved him. I mean, those guys.
He makes a lot of sense.
Oh no, he does. I think he morphs into what they need to be. He had a Wildcat style offense for a while, and then they were West Coast run and gun, and then they've been a couple different things. So I just like his staying power at the NFL level. But if you're going to take a flyer, I know it's the popular name, but Riley was my guy, Lincoln Riley. I just think he's innovative. He's smart. He's McVay-esque in that he's got that personality. He just throws caution to the wind and goes, "Let's fucking roll." I'm a smart guy. I'm going to draw it up and let's do it. That'd be kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, the difference between him and Kingsbury is that he's had sustained success on a high level.
Yes,
Oklahoma. They may be the weakest team in the playoff, but they're a elite blue blood program with a lot of expectations and a lot of pressure. So
I agree.
He's been in the fire before.
Mm-hmm. So I must say, my Christmas nightmare is waking up last day of the regular season. Bruce Allen's still there.
Oh, yeah.
Urban Meyer says, "See you guys later," and fucking like Wade Phillips.
I'm going
is
to
our head
Dallas.
coach or
He's like,
something.
I'm going to Dallas.
Oh, that would be
Or
just
it's like
the worst.
or no, my worst fear is that Bruce Allen retains, right? You know, and they keep going the mantra, "We're still close, we're close, we're close."
Right.
And Bill Callahan gets a job.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, that would not be my favorite scenario.
You're just not going to get any. This Dan Snyder may be in a bubble and stupid in a lot of ways, but even he has to recognize that they're the most hated franchise by their fans in sports.
They're a joke.
And he needs to completely change the direction of the train.
I agree.
And that means people getting fired that probably don't deserve to get fired, like Doug Williams. But you got to get everybody out of there and let the new guy. Hopefully, he's a big name that can generate excitement. Someone like Urban Meyer, and let him pick his own dudes.
Yep.
And you roll with that guy.
Nope. Agreed.
I'm going to disagree only a little bit because the idea 100% right. But I almost think you can keep a guy like Doug can be an advisor. The problem they're have right now is they're like, oh, we'll make those decisions as a group. Now that's bullshit. One guy has to make the decision. Urban Meyer, let's say. You can have all these other guys around that do whatever you want, rah-rah, alumni, support the other players, whatever. But the decision-making needs to change.
The problem with the Redskins in part is Bruce Allen, but in part they are a fractured organization, meaning they're not on the same page.
Yes.
And wouldn't surprise me at all if Doug Williams is one of the persons who, when he's not consulted, leaks stuff out. I just think
You're giving him a lot of credit. I think he's almost like from Office Space. I don't even know if he's getting a paycheck anymore. He might not even know.
I just think they need the time for bringing in old Redskins of past glory to appease the franchise. That's over.
Well,
that's
over.
but nobody cares about
Put
that.
those guys on the sidelines. Oh, they already are.
Yeah, when you bring Joe Gibbs back, no one cares anymore for like a speaking role, right? So I think the time is bring a dude in and then go to the Bahamas. If you're Dan Snyder, just leave it alone. Let him make all the decisions.
Agreed.
And clean house.
And we can say firsthand, the Bahamas, pretty decent place to go. So
yeah,
It was a good time.
Coco K.
yeah.
I bet Dan Snyder has his own Coco K.
He probably does.
It's
probably not as cool.
Probably
though.
the most boring place in the world. Nobody's allowed to look at him.
Pile of shit key.
Nobody's allowed to
shit key. That's perfect.
nobody's allowed to like talk to him.
Why did they name this island POS Key? I have no idea.
Wipers.
So before we hop off of our football talk, as that has hijacked the first part of the podcast here, the Ravens just continue to roll. Lamar Jackson continues to be just a gem to watch. 5 touchdown passes last week. Fucking 5.
He never throws the ball more than 20 yards. I don't know what they're doing, but no one ever seems to cover the tight end.
No one can cover anything they're
The
doing
tight
right
end
now.
is always wide open.
We're really smart. We know this, right? We basically called this preseason.
I
We
didn't.
said-
I thought
By we meaning me? Yeah.
I mean, we talked saying, what is this offense really going to do? Well, we're seeing it. He rolls out. He can do what? Run? Or if they pinch up on him, dump it over to the top to who's ever there. And it's been the tight ends for the most part.
it really has been a joy to watch them play.
For a freestyle machine there, Jerry?
Because they, I was afraid that they're going to be gimmicky and that people were going to be able to game plan. And by week 5 or 6, it was just going to fizzle out and it was going to be the same old song and dance. Holy shit. Every week and it's nothing groundbreaking. All they're doing is they're moving a blocking tight end from one side to the other. They're putting the pass catching tight end in the slot. They're bringing a receiver in motion, and it throws off the deep safety. Like, they're doing little nuances, and it's just throwing everybody off.
Here's the thing, man. When they're in that RPO,
Yep.
and Jackson puts that ball into the gut of Ingram, and nobody knows who's getting it, including
Everybody
Ingram.
freezes.
Right.
Everybody freezes.
And he seemingly has one of his best abilities is to be able to read the defensive end. If the defensive end crashes, he keeps it. There's nobody else out there.
Yep.
And if the defensive end stays home, there's nobody to stop it interior, and you're going to get 6 yards every time.
Every time.
So-
and by the way, he can make people miss with the best of them.
Oh,
So,
he's a freak show.
he's absurd.
Yeah.
I even underestimated how athletic he is. I mean,
when
wow.
he runs,
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
it's nervous. It's nervous. He needs to run out of bounds every time until the playoffs.
I agree.
Every time.
He had an awkward quasi slide the other night against the Jets, and I was like, "Oh,
and then he got
shit."
blasted against the Jets.
Did.
One time he gets up
did.
and pounds himself in the chest.
That
And I'm
was
like,
when
that might be toughness, but that's
That
not
was the point where
smartness.
he broke the record, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he got
yeah.
hit pretty good.
Yeah, he did. He got rocked. Well, again, so the playoffs are a foregone conclusion. They are definitely going to be a playoff team, and
they've clinched their division.
absolutely. So at this point, it's keep everybody healthy.
Yeah.
It's prep. Don't take your foot off the gas because this offense needs to continue to keep defenses on their heels.
Well, they need to win one of the last two to clinch home field throughout the playoffs.
Right.
Or have New England lose one of the last two, which is not going to happen because they're playing like the Jets and the Dolphins. So that's
Yeah,
not
but
gonna
New
happen.
England has not been fantastic.
No, but these are the Jets and the Dolphins.
I know.
So I think if you're a Ravens fan, what you hope for is a win in Cleveland. Get that done. Then you start and play RG3 in the last game against Pittsburgh, which is meaningless, which is what
Or Trace.
Yeah, or Trace, which is what Pittsburgh wants.
Right.
Because they'll be playing for a playoff berth.
Yes.
And they would love that.
That was a big loss for Pittsburgh last week, by
Yes,
the
it
way.
was. And
The
they're
Bills, man. Don't sleep on the Bills, dude.
They
Those
have-
motherfuckers are good.
Let's be
man.
honest. Pittsburgh has not beaten a team with a winning record all year.
No, but give it
They've
up
been
for Mike
feeding-
Tomlin. I'm going to go ahead and cheer
Oh,
for
he's
Mike
amazing.
Tomlin. I can't stand the
He sucks
Steelers,
and
but
deserves to be fired. Fire him.
I guarantee you
Please
there's some
fire him.
dumbass Pittsburgh Steelers fans that still want him fired because he's
Absolutely.
not going to win the Super Bowl this year.
right.
We've
And he's doing it
got
with a
job
third
for you,
string
Mike.
quarterback.
Fired. Hope he gets fired.
He's got fucking Hodges playing quarterback.
Hodges.
Are
Fuck.
you
Who the
shitting
fuck
me?
is Hodges?
They've won 8 games. And I think he's got 4 or 5 of them.
But when they play a team of competence, they lose.
Well, and that was on display last weekend. You know, the Bills are nothing to write home about, but don't the Bills have 10 wins now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, they're good.
If you're the Redskins, if I was the GM of the Redskins, my first call would be to Baltimore and say, hey, you guys need an offensive tackle, and we need a tight end. And you have 3 tight ends, and they all can't play at the same time.
I can't wait to listen back to see the first podcast that you pitched us getting Hayden Hurst.
Hayden Hurst should be.
So we've got
I
30.
would-
This is episode 31. I'm pretty sure from episode 9 to 31, Jerry has dropped Hayden Hurst to the Redskins.
After seeing
Pretty
Hayden
much.
Hurst play the last 2 weeks, I would do that trade straight up with no pass. I would say Hayden Hurst with a 1 or Hayden Hurst with a 2. Fuck that, man. I would take Hayden Hurst right now for Trent Williams.
I hope that happens because it would be the perfect prediction. What about this? Bruce Allen gone. Maybe Trent stays. That's why
I don't
he's
want
leaving.
Trent. Trent's over. Whatever.
I think he's done. I think he's done.
He's been a big baby. I mean, he's had some grievances, right?
He has.
I get it, but this is all about money, and it's all about him not wanting to play for this piece of shit team anymore.
Yep.
That's all I want.
And for them not to be a piece of shit team, it needs to just be a complete culture
He's
change.
a cancer,
and
man.
Just move on.
Let him go. Let
Yeah.
him go and get something back for him.
Yeah.
If they can get a
Shot
tight
in the
end,
disease.
if they can get a tight end,
I knew you were going there.
what do you say?
Because is that a shot at his
His
ailment?
diagnosis. That was mean, Jerry.
God damn it,
No,
Jerry.
no wonder he wants out of here.
He's a team cancer, not an actual
Bruce
cancer.
Allen and Jerry. He's like, fuck
I
you
mean,
guys.
I lost all respect for him when he said he couldn't put his helmet on because of the injury. Really?
Who is he? Antonio Brown?
Yeah, if he play, you think he's got traded the next day? He wasn't going to be able to put his helmet on like the Ravens, right? You dipshit. But think about that. Now you got McLaurin, right? You got McLaren,
McLaren and McLaurin.
whatever. McLaren driving McLaurin. You got Sims, and you got Harmon,
Yeah.
and you get a tight end.
Sims can't catch. That's the only problem.
You can run though.
Boy, fast. Dude,
I'm telling you, man.
Holy shit.
McLaren reminds me of Gary Clark.
Dude, I love that guy's game. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah. But if you're Baltimore, you want them to win, then you sit Lamar for 2 weeks, and if he's rusty, at least he's healthy,
Agreed.
and you just take your chances at home.
Well, you know, I can't wait to see out the rest of the NFL season. Mainly to just get to the end if you're a Skins fan and hope that
You gotta
have-
lose, dude.
Yeah,
Lose.
hope that the draft pick is as good as it can be and that the regime change is in the works. Those are my Christmas wishes at this point. And if you're the Ravens, stay healthy. And if you're Harbaugh, don't overthink it. Don't overthink it
I'll
come
be
playoff
going.
time.
Oh yeah, jeez. I'll be going to the first playoff game,
Nice.
taking my
Kiss
wonderful bride.
of fucking death. We have to keep you from going to that game,
Dude,
Jay.
I'm gonna text you guys if Lamar gets injured. Go, what a pussy!
We know.
He's
We're ready
faking.
for that.
He's faking.
He's faking. I've had 19 Bud Lights, and I'm in the second to last row, but I can tell he's faking.
Or like 5.
However many it takes,
Hey,
right?
you are getting older. Back then, it was probably 19.
Well, shit. So before we're gonna end our podcast with our Caps talk.
Fuck the Caps, dude. I'm so done with them.
Before we go off the deep end with Jerry and the Caps, let's real quick discuss our Terps basketball. So they're in the midst of a break for finals, and I hate to say I told you so, but I did tell you that I was really worried about the Penn State game. And Maryland came out and absolutely sucked the big one.
They sucked against Illinois, too.
They did. However, I will say this. Did you see that Illinois turned around the next game and beat Michigan?
Yeah, I think everybody in the top 4 in the Big Ten lost in the last week.
Yeah. So Illinois is clearly not as bad as people thought. But Maryland at home did not put on a good performance. I watched the Penn State game from beginning to end. I turned it on, and I told the boys, I'm pissed off. The game hadn't started yet. And they were like, what's wrong? I'm like, we're going to suck tonight. I'm telling you right now. And sure enough, they sucked.
That's loser talk.
Yeah,
Hey, I learned from you. I learned from the best.
No, once Penn State scored, I was like, fuck, this is over.
They scored.
I didn't see it yet. Still have it on DVR. But again, I just watched everybody losing. So
Wasn't even close.
It
got to within 4 in the second half. It's just they can't start a game with any sort of energy, or they can't make shots. It's at some point it's just who you are. It's not luck. It's not we're going to work on these. And we shoot 1,000 threes every week.
Correct. It's not like we walked into. It's not like we were playing a team like Butler on the road and we kind of walked into the Lions' den and didn't see it coming and we're like, oh shit. And the other team went 12 for 18 from 3 and we lost. We walked into Penn State knowing this was their biggest game of the year, knowing they were going to get up for it, knowing all of these things, and we came out and looked like a deer in headlights.
It wasn't the biggest game of the year for Penn State. What it was is a team that has success against the team that's coming in.
But to date, that was their trademark game. This was a top 5 Maryland team.
They rushed the floor like it was.
Absolutely. Coming into their building, and you know what? I will give them credit. They played really, really hard. Penn State did. Maryland is better. They're more talented. They didn't play hard enough for my taste.
Yeah, I didn't see it, so I'm not going to say anything.
Well, you can still have an opinion.
Yeah.
No, again, my opinion is I'm just watching every other team lose too. I mean, I hate seeing my team do it. It's the thing we want Turge to overcome this stuff, but it's the first loss of the season. You're going to have a handful of them.
When you watch it back, I know you're going to be pissed off at the refs because they were atrocious.
That's
they were
what my
terrible.
dad said, too.
However, I will say this: as bad as the refs were, screaming at the TV, Maryland was 12 for 16 from the free throw line before Penn State took their first free throw. So
bad officiating wasn't the issue.
Correct. They were bad both ways, but you know what? Maryland just completely laid an egg, and I saw it coming.
Here's my problem.
I mean, it's going to happen.
Here's my problem. It's almost like being married to a spouse who's cheated before, and you just know in your heart that person's going to cheat again, right?
Because this line of thinking of this analogy comes off.
It's more like knowing I just had 20 beers and I'm going to have to take a piss sometime.
Yeah. So you just know it's going to happen because that's what in your heart you believe, right?
Okay.
No matter how things are going and what you're saying.
Okay.
In my heart, I know Mark Turgeon's a failure as a coach. I know he cannot coach on an elite level. I know it. Even though I like him, I fucking want to cheer for him. I dance with all the Turgeonites when I go to the game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But those
guys are like the highlight of my game.
In my heart, I know he will never overachieve. He will always underachieve. And when you start playing competent, not even good, like Illinois and Penn State may not make the tournament. And I know Penn State's ranked now. I get it, right?
Good jazz hands.
Yeah, jazz hands. But at the end,
Pretty bad jazz hands, actually.
in March, I bet they're not. I bet they're not in the top. You know, they're in the bottom portion of the Big Ten with a losing record. Blah blah
All right,
blah.
dollar bet. Penn State makes a tournament.
Okay, dollar bet. Like I have a fucking dollar. All right. So
hundreds only.
I was going to say change for 100. You got it, babe.
So I know in my heart, Turge is not. So what this is happening is if they don't beat Seton Hall and they don't look good,
I know.
Then you've had 3 consecutive games of underperforming.
I am with you. All right, so let's get right to it. Instead of dwelling on the past, let's look ahead. Tomorrow night at Seton Hall. You know why I'm really worried?
Because their top 2 guys are out?
Correct. So Seton Hall's top guy, who is the preseason Big East Player of the Year, is out indefinitely.
And this is worrisome. Why?
And this is worrisome because they are going to rally around. Again, they're ranked. They're going to bring in a top 10.
Didn't they just lose to some shitty team?
Yes.
So top 2 guys.
Everybody's fucking losing, Jerry.
Penn State lost to Ohio State by 30 before they beat Maryland.
I know.
And Ohio State
This
went and lost to
Johnny's
somebody
fucking
else
crazy.
who sucks.
This fucking mindset of I'm really worried because they lost their best players and they're playing 7 walk-ons. And those walk-ons are fuck that, dude. You're Maryland. You're a good fucking team. You're senior driven. You get out. You put a spike to their fucking head.
And you just said
one
Mark
senior.
Turgeon's a shitty coach.
That's what you should do. You don't think if they had John
Well,
Calipari
you know what's probably
or
happened?
some of those teams, they wouldn't be going for the fucking throat?
Didn't Kentucky just lose to like a D1 AA team?
Won't they be in the Sweet 16 every freaking year?
I don't know. Will they?
Yeah.
Didn't Duke just lose to
They'll
fucking
be the great-
Stephen F. Austin?
Won't they be? Yeah. Mike
You know,
Krzyzewski,
yeah.
I think, is one of few. So you
yeah,
can sort of
he's-
give him a benefit of the doubt. What's
what-
Turgeon won?
So what'll happen
Nothing.
Nothing.
See, I think congrats to him. I think Callan graduated today. I believe
Yes, he did.
So he's probably going to go like be a businessman or something. He'll quit the team.
He's going to play in Turkey.
Yeah. He's going to follow Mello.
No, man, that's awesome for him. Good for him.
No, but I'm with you. So here's the deal. I love
So what does he
Turgeon.
do the rest of the year? Just hang out? I mean, does he have to even take like
Yeah, he
classes?
does. He has to take...
Bang a lot.
no, he has to take a class. He has to be enrolled at the university.
Dude, he
So,
could take like a theater class.
Yeah, but he can just drop it.
he could. Yeah. No, he technically
He'll
could.
take basketball coaching fundamentals.
banging chick. He'll take banging chicks 101. I wish I was in that class. Never was.
I had nothing. I was waiting for
I
a
was
zinger
never in
and I
that
had nothing.
class ever.
I failed it 4 times.
Like only 4 though.
Oh,
Well,
fuck.
that's 5 years. So 5
Oh,
years.
the rails have come right off.
This is perfect.
No, this is
Whatever.
great. So, all right, predictions for tomorrow night. Maryland, Seton Hall, before the holidays. Big game. What do you think?
I think Maryland's going to win by 10. They should win by 20, but they'll win by 10.
I think Maryland by 15.
Yeah, I'm liking that 12.
I
Did you
said I
just
would-
say you were scared?
Yes, I said it was worried.
You're so
motherfucker.
inconsistent.
What he's
All right.
worried about, I'll just put the words right into his mouth. He's worried about if you lose to that team, then we're fucked. That's what he's worried
That's
about.
exactly what I'm worried about.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
That's exactly what I'm worried about.
Then you'll have to deal with me in the next podcast talking about Mark
but we're
Turgeon
also
and cheating
His brother
spouses.
Mike. Oh, fuck. And McLaren. I mean, there's all kinds of brothers going on.
McLaren.
Oh, shit. So, hey, go Terps. Hopefully we are...
Come
we're-
on,
we're-
get some chutzpah. Like Dave said, get some fuck. Come on,
Chutzpah,
dudes,
chutzpah.
get some shit together
That's the
and beat the
vocabulary
teams you
next
should
week.
beat and pound on them from the beginning.
Fuck. Let's go, Maryland. We're all behind you. Raise up the black and gold.
Raise.
So,
It's like the whitest. You're saying a poem.
yes, I am. Yes, I am.
By the way, speaking of Maryland, did you guys see Farrell Edmonds at the Pittsburgh Buffalo game? All 3 of his kids were playing.
Nice.
No shit.
That was amazing.
That's awesome.
Tremaine, some other guy.
maybe, or
Man,
was another one.
what a
2 for Pittsburgh, 1 for
What a
Buffalo.
great blast from the past, man. Farrell Edmonds. Those were the glory
That was
days right
awesome,
there.
man, yeah.
That was Bobby Ross era right there.
Farrell and Ziz and
Yep.
all those guys.
Oh,
so-
hell yeah, man.
Zizzy up the roof.
Exactly.
Yep. So, yeah, go Terps. And hopefully when we reconvene after the holidays, we're talking about Maryland as still being only a one-loss team, still in the top 10, and about to hit their stride
Only
going
have
into
2
Big Ten
games
play.
between now and then.
Hey,
so.
Jeremy, would you fire Todd Reardon right now if John Tortorella was guaranteed to be your coach today?
That's a great question because I love torts, but I can't do that to Reardon. I just can't.
I wouldn't give a fuck about Reardon. I would take Torts in a second.
No way. I think Torts is a fossil. I think he's one of the last remaining old school guys.
He hasn't been kicked out yet.
Not
but that's
yet.
coming.
He's
Not
funny,
yet.
though. He's funny as shit.
He's awesome. If he came on the podcast, it would be the best hour of our lives. We would laugh our asses off. The guy would tell stories. It would be amazing. I don't want him as my head coach.
What the fuck is going on with
Trying to take no
Columbus?
offense to that. Is,
We always talk
what?
about how hard the schedule is because you don't play anybody. Nobody sucks anymore, right? And they finally get a team that sucks, and they get trounced 2 in a row. It's like, and Allen Bass, what happened? What did he say? What did Jeremy
He's
say?
just laughing at my face because I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Columbus is a 500 team. They're 10 points out of the... Okay.
They're the worst team in the Metro.
All right, ready? Wings, beers, and tears, hockey talk. Here we go. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago, we were talking about how hot the Caps were, and we all agreed, you included, Jerry, that they needed to cool down a little bit. guess what is best for them is to cool down against teams that are completely irrelevant.
Did you just say that Columbus is good? They're the worst team in the Metro.
No, I didn't say that. I said they're fucking barely 500. That is the kind of team I don't mind dropping points to. Who gives a shit? What I don't want to do is have a marquee matchup with Boston or with Tampa or with Pittsburgh and just get rolled 5-1. That's what I don't want.
That sounds reasonable, but fuck it anyway. Alan May's pissed, so I'm pissed.
That's right. The Alan May meter. That's what we need here in the studio at Wings, Beers, and Tears is the Alan May meter, and that is exactly how red Jerry will get.
Alan May was outraged at the fact that he said before the game, all Columbus is going to do is put the puck deep and play in your end. So all you have to do is get it out and play tough.
Yep.
And once you play in their end, you'll win. And we couldn't get the fucking puck out. It seems like the entire game was played in our, and we're trying to do all this fancy passing shit. It's just, it annoys me.
It does, but I will steal a line from an analyst that I heard, and he said the reason high-end analytics are so important in hockey is because goal scoring at its core is always a random event. I said that's the tough part about hockey. It's why 8 seeds beat 1 seeds in hockey more than any other sport combined. It's why you have a team at the bottom of the ledger that can hang with a team at the top, because goal scoring at its core is random. There are ricochets. There's, not every shot is created equal. So you can completely dominate zone time, chances, all the metrics work to your advantage, and that guarantees you nothing.
Right, but the metrics against Columbus are terrible.
We outshot Columbus 30-22 the other night.
But we never seem to have anybody in front of the net. It's never like it's hard chances.
I don't disagree. Korpisalo has been great the 2 games that we played him. We've been very meh in our own end. And, you brought up a really good point a couple weeks ago.
Thank you. Did you have a stroke or something?
Probably.
Jesus Christ.
Would I know?
You brought up a good point in that you said the Caps looked disinterested at times.
Sorry.
And I think the other night they looked disinterested.
Yeah.
They
had Columbus had a bunch of guys injured, just like
Correct.
Seton Hall, right?
Yep. See where I'm going with this? Get on the level, Jerry.
Fuck, the level sucks. What do you think, Jeremy?
Take your Alan May meter and shove it right up your ass.
Alan May's upset. Should he be upset?
What's he upset
about? The way that they're playing against Columbus?
It's one team, because I heard him after, I think it was after the second loss, and he said, look, they just got to figure out how to play Columbus, but, and this is me, that was all he said, but 7-game series is completely different. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
Because they playing this bad against a team scares me in the playoffs. But they're probably not going to be there. If they already probably have to play him, if we do, we'll game plan for him. Tortorella set out and said, we're going to beat the Caps. Mm-hmm. He did it. Reardon's not going to change the game plan for one team. He's just not going to do it.
I think what made me feel good after that game was hearing John Carlson interview with Carlson. He's funny as shit, by the way.
Sounds like he's high the entire time.
He's awesome. He has zero affect, but at the same time, I think he's hysterical. And I think Chad Dukes asked him, and he was like, so, they've got your number. He's like, yeah, I don't know about that. And he's like, well, they beat you twice in a row. He's like, it's 82 games, Chad. And then he's like, they played like some weird brand of hockey. He's like, I don't even pay attention half the time. I was like, that's so great.
There's 82 games there, Chad.
Well, who was it from? They asked somebody from Boston, because Boston dropped, what was it, 5 out of 6 in regulation? And they asked one of the guys, and they were like, so what's going on with the losing streak? And he goes, I mean, shit, there's 82 games in the season. We weren't going to go like 83-0 or anything. It's like it's so
probably Marchand.
Yeah, probably. It's like it's so fucking great, But again, I
24-6.
Pardon me.
It's even double better than what I thought,
dude. It's ridiculous.
And they got the Devils on Friday,
which
is my baby's birthday, Holly and Peyton's birthday.
Nice.
And
cheers.
So, obviously, we're we're
Cheers.
taking.
Clink.
We're taking them out to not Peyton. We're taking Holly out to a bar, and I'll be watching the Caps game, and they'll probably ruin Holly's birthday. Get the fuck out of here! They scored. They scored.
So they'll ruin Holly's birthday through you. They'll channel it through you. Okay, I got it.
That's why we're getting to the bar an hour after the game starts. We're going to the bar to watch the game.
I'm not going to the bar to watch the game. The game will be on when I'm at the bar.
Okay, just checking.
Real quick, while we're doing Wings, Beers, and Tears birthdays, Frankie, birthday tomorrow.
Yes.
Frankie,
cheers, brother.
Pimp of the sandbox, dude.
That's right, man. He's got his shit together. So, Caps, the holidays are actually a little bit light on their schedule. And with all the games that they played in October and November, that's what we said was they were going to hit some stretches where the games were fewer and further between. And that concerned me from the point of rhythm. They were playing so many games in October. My initial concern was too many at once. Well, they just got on a fucking roll.
I don't know, T. Yeah. I mean, they starting on Friday, they got the Devils on the 20th, the Lightning on the 21st, the Bruins on the 23rd, the Blue Jackets, on the 27th, the Hurricanes at the 28th, and the Islanders on the 31st.
Now, you're right. That is a lot of games, Now, it's a bunch of games in about 11, 12 game
But we're in the midst
span.
of a stretch where it's going to be
those
like
are really
4
good
games in 2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah,
so.
right.
Of those 6 games, the Lightning, Lightning's, I don't know about Kucherov just got benched, right? So
Just got killed by, was it an Ovi slap shot or Carlson slap shot?
Yeah.
But
the Lightning are dangerous. The Bruins are really good. The Blue Jackets.
Well, again, there's no bad team in the NHL.
Carolina and Islanders.
There aren't any bad teams.
The Devils are bad.
The Devils are not great. They're not great at all. But all it takes is a solid first line, a solid D pair, and a good goalie, and the game's close.
Yeah.
It
It just seemed to me that Columbus has the game plan to neutralize the Capitals if the Capitals are not interested in playing physical.
And that's kind of where I'm at. Is I'm not that worried, even though it's 2 games in about a week.
Because it hadn't even been close. I mean, the first periods of both games are like shots are like 16-2.
Yeah, no, I agree. The Caps look completely listless to start the game, and there's no excuse for that. Again, 82 games, you're not going to be up for every single game, every single period. I get it, but your system should come into play at some point, and that's where I do get a little concerned when teams are able to tilt the ice on the Caps.
Right.
Because it doesn't look like we really have a counter for that. It's almost like we need a full reset. We need a period off, But again, I would be more concerned if I didn't see that league-wide. It's happening across the board.
And that's where this season in the playoffs, that's where it's going to matter.
Yeah.
You can't do it, you can't do it.
Right. Well, I like Reardon. Ultimately, is he the right coach? I don't know. I like the guy. I think he's smart. And the reason I like him is because he has a team of high-end veterans that have won a cup. He's got a team of a bunch of young guys, and everybody seems to like him and buy into him. Maybe Jeremy's currently having the stroke that you talked about earlier. I don't really know, Jerry. Jerry looks very concerned about Jeremy's health.
Someone call 911. I don't want this dude dying in my house.
I stopped drinking for 30 seconds. I might be in trouble.
I think it might be a reaction from the boat because he drank 75 beers a day.
Holy shit. So before we sign off for the week,
Not beers.
we're just going to give you guys a little recap of our trip. It began and ended with lots and lots and lots of booze.
I went to bed at 10 every night and got roasted for it, but I don't give a shit.
You didn't get roasted for it. I'm jealous that you slept so well.
Seriously, the last night there, Coco K, right?
Yeah.
We get off the boat and we watch. Holly wants to go back on the boat to watch the end of the Ravens game because whoever they're playing, Buffalo's coming back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
the game was in hand, and she was a fucking wreck. Anyway, she drank
Good for her.
She drank hard there. I mean, she was hammered.
Didn't we all?
Yeah, but she was hammered. So we get to the bar and watch the end of the game, and there's some lady from Baltimore there, and they're hugging each other, and that lady is talking shit to everybody. Y'all go to hell. The Ravens are here. I mean, it was straight
Nice.
Baltimore. Awesome.
That's excellent.
Right? Everybody else was like, holy shit. Anyway.
So these are your people. You're
These
like,
are my
yes,
people.
yeah.
I loved it. I was like, where you live in Baltimore? Anyway.
Sorry for the background coughs there, folks.
So anyway, we get done. Holly's ecstatic, and I tell her I don't really want to go to dinner. I'd rather just stay here, watch the national game at 4. And she says that sounds good. We get there. It's the New England game. I'm excited. We got some sliders, whatever. We got some stuff coming.
Sliders are good,
I look
too.
over, and she is dead asleep,
Outstanding.
with her head against the thing, against the fake brick, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There, just dead asleep. And she sleeps for the entire third quarter.
It's wonderful.
And I said,
What a great power nap for her.
yeah. Well, then she got up, and I said,
I know, it sounds like he's saying it in a judgy way. I don't know why.
are you ready to go up? And she said, I'm ready to go up. And I said, we're done for the night. So we went upstairs, we came back, and I came back down to get pizza. And what are you looking at me for? I'm telling the truth. And they were like, allegedly, oh my God, you're not going on, Michelle, you're not staying up, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, Good seeing you. I just shook her hand. Said thanks for the trip.
Shook her hand.
Thanks for the trip.
Fucking politician.
I was shaking everybody's hand. I said thanks for the trip. We got up the next day and rolled out. We were in bed by 10 o'clock.
Good for you
You're
guys.
smart. You're smart.
Yeah, we were not in bed by 10 o'clock.
I was once. I was on the first night.
Yeah.
I've never
All right, so Todd, what was your best memory of the cruise?
Best memory of the cruise has to be I loved Saturday during the day when we were hanging out on that little perch up top of the pool deck. We kind of owned
upstairs. Hell yeah.
we like owned that VIP area. That was so much fucking fun.
Watching Dora.
Watching Dora.
Yeah, among other things.
Yeah, we recorded our podcast that day. It was amazing. No, but I loved sitting up there on that perch and just having a good time with everybody and shooting the shit, and everybody had such a good time. But yeah, the Coco K day, everybody got wrecked.
Coco K was my favorite part of it.
Dude, that was so much fucking fun. There were 3 people in our group that do not remember walking back onto the ship.
They lost John.
That was awesome.
They lost John. You know Holly was hammered when she's
definitely
screaming
lost
at the
John.
girl to get off the thing.
Oh, that's right.
Oh yeah.
She was,
I'm fairly certain.
Punished.
I'm fairly certain.
Yeah. She was,
Yeah, this girl was definitely going like MTV Spring Break, like, you know.
They would say, get off the counter, or we're going to have to stop the music. And then she'd get right back on the counter and give everybody the finger.
Correct.
And Holly is usually very docile, but she was
not docile
She was
that
ready
day.
to throw hands with her.
Do you remember what you said that day, Holly?
I said something like, go back to Jersey.
Go back to Jersey.
You did say go back to Jersey, and then you went, and then you looked down at one point and very calmly said, I'm going to fuck that bitch up. And I was like, yeah, buddy, it's on.
That's what I knew.
That's right.
That's what I knew. It's going to be an early night.
Oh, hell yeah.
All right, Jeremy, what was your favorite
Water was freezing.
trip?
Honestly, just every moment with the crew was priceless.
When we
3
left,
days.
He kind of just likes it all.
I can't pick just one.
when we left and you were there by yourself for 4 days,
So fucking jealous.
did debauchery happen?
So I have some good stories, but nothing great.
Okay.
Nothing. That
How
good.
how did you end up at the casino? Were you on the right end of things?
I did good.
Woo!
There's
Yes.
some stories there too. So
So
Nice.
Jeremy is officially going to get us our first sponsor then, because he's clearly got the funds to.
All right, before we sign off, props to my boy Sean Clark, who's a head football coach at Appalachian State.
Hell yeah!
wow,
Cheers to
congrats,
you, bro.
It's his first step to
So
being a
apparently
head coach of West Virginia.
his first head coaching duty will be in a bowl game on Saturday night.
And it only
is the
took him
kid
3
from-
minutes to start crying at the press conference,
Is this the
which is
kid-
how I remember him.
Is the kid from Purdue? Or just
Yeah,
somebody-
he's,
okay, nice.
he's the guy
Congrats
I grew
to
up
him.
with and played football with all through Little League and junior high and high school.
That is-
I can't think of a better way to sign off this week than saying cheers to Sean and
Good luck, man. Don't screw it up.
That's right. Go App State.
App State's made a great surge into the national spotlight. Don't fuck it up, bro.
That's it. That's it, man.
Say it with love.
Good vibes coming from Wings, Beers, and Tears, and we're nothing but positive over here, clearly.
Obviously.
So until next time, thank you for listening. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, all that good shit, and hopefully we will drop a holiday pod if we can, and if not, we'll see you guys on the other side.
All right.
Love y'all. Peace.
See ya.
So see you guys later. Peace.